Hello and welcome back to another video. My name is Farhan, also known as Gunner since 96, and I'm here to give you a match day preview. That's right, Arsenal versus Olympiacos at the Emirates Stadium, the second leg of the last 16, round the last 16 in the Europa League. Arsenal are due to get themselves through to the next round, to the quarterfinals, if we don't muck things up. I'm really hoping that we don't. Look, this is a fixture I think most Arsenal fans can agree is just one of those games where you play, you get through, and then we move on to the draw on Friday. I'm more so looking forward to the draw on Friday than the game tonight. I'm also looking forward to the United and Rangers game than the Arsenal game tonight. Maybe I'm feeling a little bit overconfident, but I'll explain why in this video. If you don't want to watch this video, before you leave, hold on, right? Let me explain to you what we're going to be talking about before you go. Let me try and change your mind. We're going to talk about Mikel Arteta's press conference. There are quite a few important things that he spoke about, and interesting things as well, because as most of his press conference are, he tends to, repeat the same phrases and give the same media trained answers. But this time around, it was a little bit different. We got a little bit more of an insight as to what's going on in the background. And then I'm going to give my predicted starting 11 ahead of tonight's or this afternoon's game, later this afternoon's game, early tonight. I don't know. What's a 5:55 kickoff? Would you class that as afternoon, late afternoon, early evening? Anyways, and I'll be talking about what Arsenal need to do to try and get through to the next round. And should we go through to the next round, I'm also going to touch on who I'd want to play. So let's get right into it, because I don't want to go on for 20, 25 minutes. I'd rather this be a 10, 15 minutes, nice little snack for your afternoon, and then you can get on with the rest of your day. So, three quotes that I've pulled out from Arteta's press conference. The first question being the most important one: has Martinelli done anything wrong to slip down the pecking order? There were quite a few questions about Martinelli right from the get-go. And to this question, Arteta said, no, if anything, it's my fault. He's done everything perfect. He trains incredibly well every day. His attitude cannot be any better. He's really disappointed that he's not playing more. Obviously, I have spoken to him, but he needs to be a little bit patient. He had some minutes. He had some games as well. And it's true that the competition now for the front positions is very tough. He needs to be patient, and he will get his chance. What I extrapolate from that quote is that Martinelli is very much in our plans. We're taking things one step at a time. And again, I love this about Arteta. I really do. I don't think people give him enough credit than he deserves for the way that he manages. And this is going to sound crazy, because one of his biggest criticisms is that he hasn't been able to manage players properly. But I think this is the perfect example of managing a young upcoming player the right way. He's 19 years old. He's got so much time on his hands. Right now, the next year or two are the years where he should be progressing, where he should be developing the right way. Okay, I don't want to see anyone. I mean, Reece Nelson, Joe Willock are probably the perfect example of what happens when you overdo it. Okay, these guys were being played week in, week out. So much high expectations on their shoulders. They couldn't deliver it, and now one's on loan, doing really well, whilst the other one is playing under 23 football. I don't want the same thing to happen to Martinelli, because I truly believe there is a very special player in there. Judging by the videos that we saw, the training videos where he's shooting alone, I am making the assumption that Arteta wants him to transition into a striker role. Maybe when Lacazette leaves next season, he'll play a much bigger role in that position. Who knows? We're yet to see. In terms of tonight's game, do I see Arteta giving him a chance to play? Considering we're 3-1 up, you'd hope that Arteta would start him, but I don't think he will. I think we'll still go for a relatively strong starting lineup. And I think Martinelli may come on later on during the second half, maybe in the 65th minute, when if Arsenal are, cruising comfortably, he'll give him a run out. But look, it seems to me that he's got no problems with Martinelli. Martinelli, obviously, we can tell that he's frustrated because Arteta tells us that, they've had conversations. He's obviously not happy about not playing, but he doesn't need to be patient. This has to be the message for every young player at Arsenal. This isn't a Mickey Mouse club. This isn't a club where we're not a youth centre. Okay, we're not here to develop young players and let them go on their go on off with their careers to bigger clubs. We're not going to make that mistake again. This is a big club. Okay, if you're not ready, if you're not the best of the best, you're not going to be able to play first team football. And that's not to say Martinelli doesn't have the potential to be the best of the best. Of course he does. He's got all the talents needed to make it in the Premier League, to make it in anywhere. And he's shown us that. But he needs to be patient. There is an order. You got Lacazette, you got Aubameyang, even Nketiah to some extent. On that left-hand side or that right-hand side, you got Pepe, you got Saka, you even got Willian. So he's going to have to be patient. The next question Arteta was asked was, did you ever consider stripping Aubameyang of the captaincy? Oh, this is very frustrating that I have to talk about this question. Very frustrating. And it's even more frustrating that we're having a conversation about this. Who cares? Who cares? I understand, right? I mean, I get it. I get it. What happened with Aubameyang, him being dropped ahead of the North London derby was a massive deal. Why do we need to go that extra step? Why do we need to take it that step further to then talking about stripping captaincy? We know who all of us would like the next Arsenal captain to be. I don't need to say his name. I don't even need to mention it. We know. But the mere fact that people are having conversations about stripping this guy's captaincy ahead of the next season and to give it to KT is beyond ridiculous. It just, I don't understand what planet we're living on. You think you could just take a captaincy off someone and give it to someone else and everything to be hunky-dory? Wake up the next day, go to training. Hey boys, how's it going? You all right? Yeah, you guys have a good summer? No, that's not going to happen, because to take a captaincy of someone is highly humiliating unless you do something extremely worthy of stripping captaincy, unless you voluntarily hand it over yourself. It's not going to do anyone any good. Oh yeah, the club needs a captain. We've been missing one for years. Where's KT going? He's not going anywhere. The club should offer him a new contract, tie him down on a long-term contract. Aubameyang's here for the next 2 seasons or so. After this season, let him have his, let him see out the rest of his career, and then when Aubameyang leaves, hand it over to him. If anything happens before then, fine. But this whole idea that we don't have a real captain in Aubameyang, he's not captain material, therefore we need to take the captaincy off him and give it to Kieran Tierney, it's not going to do anyone any good. Number one. Number two, it's going to have more detrimental impacts in the background, in the dressing room, than any good will come out of it. Don't know if that made any sense, but I'm highly frustrated that we're having this conversation, guys. Like, come on, let's focus on the football here. Let's not focus on we know who that. You don't need to wear a captaincy armband to flex your leadership skills. We know his leadership material. We know there's other players in there. Granit Xhaka's a massive leader there in the pitch. David Luiz is. Gabriel is showing leadership qualities. So just because someone doesn't have a captaincy armband, it doesn't mean that their leadership abilities on the pitch is somehow limited. Let's get our heads together here and let's put this conversation away for another day. All right, preferably in about a couple seasons' time. Let's let this guy have the captaincy armband. We gave it to him. We were more than happy for him to have it when he was given it. So why are we complaining about it now? Move on. That's my rant out of the way for the day. And the final question, is this an opportunity to rest players Actually, I didn't even give the answer to what Arteta said to Aubameyang's captaincy potentially being stripped. He said, "This was dealt with on the day. It's been resolved in a really positive way and we move on." Thank you very much, Mikel. Please, can we all now move on? And with that, we are moving on to the next question. Is this an opportunity to rest players in your squad, particularly with Emile Smith-Rowe, who has just been called up to the England under-21 squad and is likely to play 3 games in a short space of time? First of all, can I just say that it's ridiculous the amount of games that players are expected to play who've been called up for international duty. Absolutely ridiculous. 3 games in the space of 6 days. Mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. Arteta said that we look at all the minutes everybody has played. It's true that we have some players with significant loads, but our priority is to win these next 2 games. And then whatever happens with internationals, if anything, they will have to adapt and not the other way around, because we are the ones who have to look after our players here every day. And at the end of the day, the ones who pay our players. So if anybody has to adapt, that's the national teams, not us. Ooh. Touchy. Arteta not sounding very happy about that, and seems to be having a little sly dig at the national teams. Look, I totally agree. These World Cup qualifiers are BS. It's as simple as that. It's so pointless. Something needs to be done to try and change the format of the qualification rounds, whether it's played in the summer, all in the summer, or whether it's played in the summer and the winter. I hate international breaks. If there's one thing I hate, it's international breaks. It stops the flow of the league. It stops any momentum. Teams that go into international duties with great momentum come back and all of that is lost. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of bloody time. All we get to see is a bunch of players playing against a bunch of other players trying to get a result and then move up the league table and qualification, World Cup qualifier rounds, pointless. Pointless. I mean, yes, in terms of England, it's pointless. But if you're looking at other teams like medium teams, I can't seem to think of any from the top of my head, but you give them a good chance of qualifying. It's the first time that, I mean, there were quite a few teams who had played the World Cup for the first time, qualified for the World Cup for the first time last time around. But I just feel like there needs to be a better way to try and, format this, and because it's not helpful for clubs, and it's not helpful when internationals are being played, 3 international games are being played in the space of 6 days. What happens if Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka get injured? They're out for long term. Do you know what I mean? It's frustrating. More times than less, I really couldn't care less about the international games. Unless it's the Euros or the World Cup. Who cares? Friendlies, qualifications, we're all going to watch it because there's going to be nothing else to watch. Frustrating. Anyway, those are the 3 questions and quotes that I wanted to pull out. And now I'm going to talk about the team lineup. The predicted team lineup that I'm going to give. When I say predicted team lineup, I'm more talking about how I would set up. But I guess rather than talking about how I would set up, I'll give the predicted team lineup of how Arteta is going to set up. Okay, starting back in goal, obviously Leno. There's no competition there. Matt Ryan isn't going to get ahead of him. And then we move to right back. Now, this is an interesting one because there are options available to Mikel. You've got Bellerin and Cedric. That's about it. Who plays? You're probably looking at the game against West Ham on the weekend when deciding who plays at right back. But also, I think Arteta is more level-headed. I think he is... Look, the guy's smart. He's very intelligent. And so he's not going to take this game lightly like most of us are. He's going to want to try and go into this game and smash Olympiacos to pieces. Not go into this game with, half a strong team and half a, B team take that risk. We know what Olympiacos are going to do when they kick off, the moment they kick off. So I think Arteta will. I think he will play Bellerin though, because in Bellerin I do see a competent player. I do see Bellerin having the ability to outplay, with all due respect, whoever he's up against from Olympiacos. I think he'll be raring to go as well. So I think, in terms of rotation and whether we have the right abilities in that position, I think Bellerin has all the abilities to play up against Olympiacos. So he's going to play on the right-hand side. Our centre-backs. This is an interesting one because we have two centre-back partnerships. We have so many, actually. I can't even put my finger to it. I can't tell you our number one partnership at the back, but there are so many variations that Arteta could play Gabriel Holding. He could play Luis Mari. He could play Mari Holding. But he's going to want to keep it tight at the back. He's going to want things to be solid. I think he will continue with Luis and Gabriel. And I think against West Ham, potentially he'll play Holding and maybe Mari. But for the purposes of making sure that we don't concede any goals, Luis and Gabriel will start because they've been phenomenal of late. And at the left, you could play Cedric there, but you can also play Kieran Tierney. I think Kieran Tierney will start. I think Kieran Tierney is a beast. And in the grand scheme of things, this is the most important game for us. So, yeah, KT starts on the left. Centre mids, who starts? Partey and Xhaka, or Partey and Elneny, or Xhaka and Elneny. This is interesting. Like I said, in the grand scheme of things, this is the most important game. You want to control this game and you want to be as dominant as possible. You're going to get that if you play Xhaka and Partey. Is Arteta going to do that? I think Elneny and Partey will play. Having said that though, Partey looked... he sort of declined in the game against Spurs. Not declined, but I don't know. There's something about Partey that wasn't right as the game went on. Whether it was a confidence issue, whether it was a fitness issue. Having said that, though, we've had more than enough time to rest players and get them back to full fitness. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Elneny and Partey starting in the middle. I think Arteta is not going to risk it. He's going to want to play his strongest possible side with a slight eye open for the West Ham game. Now, this is the interesting one. The front three behind the striker. In the middle, I would like to see Odegaard continue in that space. I think Emile Smith-Rowe had an amazing game against Tottenham. I would, however, like him to be rested. Looking ahead to the international breaks, give him as much rest as he needs, because only God knows that he's going to need it. Should they decide to play him for all the games, I don't think they will. But look, he's come back from an injury. You know, you don't want to rush him. I don't know whether he's 100% full fit, but you have Odegaard there, so play Odegaard. On the right, Saka it's been confirmed that he's fit. He's ready to go for this game. I don't think it's necessary that you play Saka. So again, for the purposes of that, of getting him back to 100% full fitness and not risking any injuries, play Pepe on the right-hand side, because Pepe can play on that right-hand side. Other than him, I don't see anyone else playing there. So Pepe on the right-hand side, and on the left, I think he's going to go for Willian. And then Willian's going to start on the left-hand side because he's going to rest Emile Smith-Rowe and he's going to rest Saka. And should he need to, he'll bring them on. But Willian and Pepe are more than competent, and I think they'll be eager to put in a really good performance. And up front, who do you play? Lacazette or Aubameyang? Obviously, having seen the whole saga with Aubameyang and Arteta and him being dropped for the North London derby. And if, like Arteta says, if things have been resolved, he will start Aubameyang. But Aubameyang's got a really big job on his hands. He needs to perform well, and he's got a point to prove now. Having said that, it's very possible that Aubameyang could play on the left and Lacazette could play in the middle. But again, I think Arteta will have an eye on the West Ham game, and he will want to rest either Aubameyang or Lacazette. But at the same time, he'll want to play a strong team. So I think Aubameyang will play. That's my predicted starting 11. How do I see Arsenal setting up for this game? Well, it's going to be a difficult game. It's going to be very nerve-wracking, I think. If Olympiacos get an early goal, it's going to be very, very nerve-wracking. So I think Arsenal need to start the game off with an intention of dominating the game, trying to hold as much possession as possible, trying to slow down the tempo of the game. I don't think it's important for Arsenal to go all guns blazing in the first 25-30 minutes. I think control the game, try and keep it tight, try and keep it neat. I wouldn't play a high line like we did against Spurs. I think when two teams are going at it, when the game starts to open up, it becomes a lot more risky. I don't think Arsenal need to take any risk. They're going to need 3 goals to go through. So I think see the first half out by keeping it neat and tidy, by taking your opportunities when you get them. Don't overcommit. Having said that, in the second half, they will absolutely throw everything at it. And so it will be good to try and get a goal in the first half. But if they can't, sit off, relax, again, control the game. I'm going to expect Partey to be at the centre of dominating possession, winning the ball back. But at the same time, don't sit off and allow them to play football. When they have the ball, I expect Arsenal to be pressing really high. I expect Arsenal to try and get the ball back as soon as they lose it. Be the first one on loose balls as well. Look, at the end of the day, the job's not done. The boys need to go into this game with the mentality that we're playing against a dangerous side that have beaten us before at the Emirates. And if they go with that type of mindset, then we will see the enthusiasm, the energy, and the drive to see this game through. Anything other than that, we're going to be in for a very nervy 90 minutes of football, because they're going to play a high line. They're going to play with lots of men pushing forward. And so we need to be aggressive off the ball. Get the ball back, hit them on a counter-attack, try and get a goal from the counter, get balls in behind, feed Aubameyang, Pepe, Willian as well. And hopefully we should see the game through. And then in the evening after the game, we've got United and Milan, and then you got Rangers as well with Slavia Prague. Both games where it's 1-1, could go either way. I'm obviously very much looking forward to tomorrow's draw, Europa League draw, quarterfinal draw, and obviously judging by those results, we'll have a good idea of who we could potentially play. I'm not worried about anyone, because I think Arsenal are good enough to beat anyone on their day. If I needed to choose 2 oppositions who I'd like to avoid, I'd like to probably avoid United or Milan, whoever go through, and Ajax. I think Ajax are slight underdogs. They've been doing really well in this competition. They play a really nice brand of football, and they've got a pretty good squad as well, full of young players who are coming up the ranks, and looking to break out of Ajax and possibly move on. So this might be the year for them to win a European trophy. And if we avoid Ajax and possibly United or AC Milan, I think we could progress into the semi-finals and then potentially the finals. But look, we need to get the job done tonight, and we need to do it well. We need to do it without getting any injuries, without any late scares, and then move on to West Ham. I'm going to leave it there. I know I said I didn't want this video to stretch out 25 minutes. It already has, or it will do by the end of it. But if you've stuck around, thank you very, very much. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider giving it a like, a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel as well, as I release a piece of content every single day, or I try to. And yeah, hit that bell notification as well to be notified every time I release a video. I'll be back again tomorrow. Am I going to be back later today for a post-match reaction? Maybe. If you're lucky, I might be back later tonight. If not, you'll definitely see my post-match reaction video tomorrow, where I'll give my reaction to Arsenal either getting through to the next round or crashing out, however it may go, who knows. But like, until then, stay home, stay safe, and enjoy the game. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.